disciple in the building. I hope you guys having a good one. We about to go in. We're going to read two articles. This one's from Africa News. Rebel Moon, the science fiction epic showing devastation wrought by imperialism. All right. So we're going to start off with that, and we're going to start taking it to them. Let me read the article. All right. So this article was written by Redaction African News, updated December 22nd. Sophia Botella says she is terrified to lead the ensemble cast of Zack Snyder's Netflix epic Rebel Moon. It was very intimidating to me, and this is the biggest movie I've ever been in. And but to be honest, I always start a movie thinking I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm always ending up finishing it and doing it. But I think this one was another level of that because it was my first time being a lead, and because it's Zack Snyder, and because I just really wanted to be good enough, the 41-year-old actor said. Botella plays Cora, who leads a group of farmers finding help to defend their homeland from an imperial force led by El Screen's Admiral Atticus Noble. You think you know. This is certainly the biggest movie and biggest project I've ever been involved in my life, Screen agreed. I need to know the emotional state of being. I need to treat it like it's a A24 movie. And Roland and Tim and Robert and Zach will make it big and make it epic. But that is not my preoccupation. And I can't be thinking about Tom Hulkenberg doing this incredible score on top. I just need to emotionally ground myself and then come in and truthfully look at the actor's eyes opposite me and react to that. And then that has to be enhanced by it all on the other side. Screen says the space fantasy movie doesn't pull any punches when it comes to showing the devastation wrought by imperialism, even a fantasy universe. In previous franchises, I think, they softened off the edges. Hold on a second. I'm holding this with my hand, obviously. I'm hand holding this thing. And this is unapologetic. This is space fascism. And this is the horrible sort of fantasy of the evolution of this kind of hatred and imperialism. And this history of empire that we have seen destroy continents and family structures for years, Screen said. So it has a cold and brutal reality and its historical significance and its current parallels. It's something you can't ignore whilst making, and you can't ignore when you watch it. Rebel Moon Part 1, Child of Fire hits Netflix. Okay, so that they were just talking about it hitting. And I gotta say, I've said this before, I will say it again. This movie is literally a reflection of the colonial system that is being enacted out in its true form, as we see Israel doing genocide in Palestine, treating Palestinians as subhuman. And if they could do that to them, and then you see the muzzling of the Israelis who protest this, we see the muzzling of people worldwide who protest this, and we see the muzzling of diplomats, the bullying of diplomats, both by America and Israel and their Western allies. And we saw South Africa stand up to them. We've seen the Houthis and Hezbollah, and we've seen Hamas stand up to them. We see the Palestinian people resisting as well, not leaving their homeland. And this is so reminiscent of this movie. I can't wait to see the rated R version, but I'm not done. I got more. So I told you guys, it's nice to see someone writing this. And this is Africa News. And why Africa News? Because, South Africa stood up and spoke on behalf of the African people as well about their denouncing of the actions of the leadership of Israel and the Zionists. Now I'm going to show you guys a little bit more, if you will permit me. Okay, this is the other article here. This article is from The Stranger. Gaza, the Empire, and Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. This was written December 29, 2023. Now, you remember I told you guys that this has lots of parallels to what is happening currently. And one of the things I like about Zack Snyder's movies is its actual immediate relevance. Zack likes to say he dives into pop culture, but, I think that he literally discusses in his movies, actual events unfolding in front of us. And that's something you need to pay attention to, okay? Gaza, the Empire, and Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. What it means when Hollywood films make the insurgents the good guys. Charles Mudede. Charles Mudede obviously is some African guy. On December 22nd, as Israel flattened Gaza with powerful bombs, Netflix released the space opera Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire. Zack Snyder, 300, Man of Steel, Justice League, and so on, directed this mostly entertaining studio movie, which cost about $166 million to make. Well, actually, it cost $166 million to make both movies, Part 1 and Part 2. We've just seen only Part 1, The Child of Fire. And features Anthony Hopkins as the voice of a pacified robot, Jimmy the Robot, or a Jimmy, actually, a 21st century C3PO. Well, not really, but the golden Star Wars droid was voiced by another British actor, Anthony Daniels. The connection between Jimmy the Robot and C3PO is not singular. Rebel Moon has structurally and thematically a lot in common with the original Star Wars trilogy. Yes, that's true. Both have an empire at war with rebels. In both, the Empire's army, stormtroopers in the former, Imperium in the latter, oppressed powerless farmers and other ordinary space people. And most telling of all, we find the racial composition of the Empire to be homogeneous, very white. That of the rebels to be heterogeneous. Indeed, the leaders of the rebellion in Snyder's epic are black, Darian Bloodaxe, Ray Fisher, and Devra, Cleopatra Coleman. Furthermore, the star of the film and the future leader of the rebellion, Cora, is Algerian, Sofia Boutella. True, Cora was once an Imperium soldier, but Snyder made the main villain, an Imperium Admiral Atticus Noble, Ed Skrein, look like the pale commander of the Galactic Empire's planet-destroying Death Star, Grand Moff Tarkin, Peter Cushing. Skrein and Tarkin are like Jimmy the Robot and C-3PO, played by Brits, but those who watched the Star Wars in the 1970s found it hard to miss the connection between the Galactic Empire and the American Empire. Particularly its failed war with the poor people of Vietnam. The latter clearly resembled the Rebel Alliance in that far, far away galaxy. But what to make of Rebel Moon? In general, Hollywood films that identify evil power with empire and good power with insurgents James Cameron, if you think about it, the good guys in Star Wars are the rebels. That's James Cameron. They're using asymmetric warfare against a highly organized empire. I think we call these guys terrorists today. They call them Mujahideen. We call them Al-Qaeda. Right? So it's interesting seeing James Cameron say that. George Lucas said, when I did it, they were Viet Cong. So Hollywood has been subliminally making messages through great directors, and Zack Snyder just joins that pantheon of great directors who are actually making social commentary on actual events that are happening. And they're basically saying that the people who the media and the whole empire is deeming, terrorists and terrible people like Hamas and Hezbollah, which are really freedom fighters, those people are deemed evil in real time. And we're living in a world where that's happening, and they starting to condition us to realize that the real heroes are the people, the poor people who are trying to tell truth, and the rich people, the elite people, they are trying to exploit the poor people and get rid of them, steal their land, steal their resources. And that's what we're seeing today with Israel and the Palestinians. They're trying to steal their resources, their land, their oils, drive them out, and have the whole area as Israel. And America is supporting that because it's not only controlled in some respects by Israel, but also the Zionists there believe in that same philosophy. They believe in a certain type of capitalism which takes and exploits the poor people. That's why Joe Biden should never be reelected. And no matter how much he tries to identify with unions and all of that, he can go to hell as far as I'm concerned, because he doesn't care about poor people. Poor people in this world who can't give back anything, they're exploited. They're destroyed. They're the scum of earth. This is what the message is being sent. Even what they did where they cut off aid for, America saying they're not going to donate and support UNRA. It's terrible what these people are doing. It's just so wicked and evil. And they're making, I don't even understand how they're able to do this, because even what they're doing to the Houthis right now, and the Houthis are not budging. The resistance is not budging because the Houthis know they need to stop these ships from coming through port and supplying weapons. And they're talking about a ceasefire. And these people will not ceasefire for nothing, but they will have to ceasefire. And America will be disbanded and will be destroyed because their forces are not being able to overcome Hamas. Hamas has done a great job of being able to survive them and outmaneuver them and even destroy their troops on the ground. So, they're trying to negotiate with Hamas for hostages, but Hamas is looking to free the Palestinian people. That's what they're looking for. This battle is about liberating the Palestinian people once and for all. And if it takes Hamas to do it, then so be it. But Hamas is going to look more and more good in the world's eyes the longer this goes, and it's going to go further. By the way, one of the head commanders, major in Israel, spoke about Israel's losing the war with Hamas. And I spoke about it, and some clowns came up on my channel and tried to tell me I'm delusional and stuff. And, these Israeli people, these IDF people and Mossad, they were trying to target somebody. They're wicked and evil and low down and dirty like that because they're just like Nazis, okay? And not everybody in Israel's like that. Not everybody's the scum of the earth like some of these disgusting people who don't care for human life. And I know there's a significant portion of Israelis who have been muzzled. And so they're trying to make it sound like the majority of Israelis support this war and so on. No, it's the people who are allowed to be vocal about it. All right. Right now, it's like a Gestapo up in Israel. People are not free to speak their minds and say what they really want to say. So you can stop the bullshit. It's not the majority of Israelis support this war. We don't know how many, because there's a lot of Israelis not saying anything. Okay. George Lucas was supposed to direct Apocalypse Now, which was based on Joseph Conrad's novella Heart of Darkness. In the latter, the empire is Belgium. In the former, it is the United States. And in this connection between Europe imperialism and American empire, as Sam Gindin and Leo Panish called it in their masterful The Making of Global Capitalism, the Political Economy of the American Empire, is explicit in one of the most famous deleted scenes in the history of cinema, the French plantation scene. After World War II, America assumed the global scale operations of the empire. This fact is also explicit in the scene that was never shot, but was in the screenplay for Kathleen Bigelow's The Hurt Locker. What we see in the film are a bunch of buffoons led by Ralph Fiennes, the head of the private army, as what remains of Britain's control of Iraq and its oil. But in the script by Mark Boyle, we see the British imperialism as very much central to and continued by American militarism. There's none of this buffoonery we see on the screen. This is instead the very serious business of state power and contracts. International Ambassador Office Ambassador Sir Auckland Geddes, the epitome of the old-style British Foreign Service, elegant, self-assured, a gentleman adventurer in Savile Row, hoping to improve the world, certain he'll profit in the attempt. He's holding court with a group of executives. The executives are seated around a conference table around the ambassador's sway. There's a model of a British petroleum gas station convenience store in English and Aramaic in the center of the table. So that's the deleted scene. In Rebel Moon, the Imperium occupies a rural area in the moon of Velt. The Empire wants all the food the farmers who have lived in peace with the rhythms of nature produce. The exploitation is that raw. What is left to be done but revolt against the Empire, which calls home the Mother World, one of the few interesting twists to this form of Hollywood narrative? Even more curious are the Imperium soldiers based on Velt. They seem to speak Afrikaans English. Indeed, as in, apartheid Africa. Indeed, I heard one of them say Futski, which, why is this connection interesting? One only has to watch Neil Blomkamp's Elysium to hit upon a plausible answer. The high-tech mercenaries in the film are Afrikaners. And what is their key gripe? Why do they hate America's elite, represented by the Defense Secretary Jessica Delacourt, so much? Because it's never really done the dirty work of empire. The Boers had to oppress, punish, kill black Africans to keep the system going, to keep the profits flowing upward to the Elysium. Nevertheless, when the basic structure of Rebel Moon is translated into real world of our moment, it is clear who in Gaza is continuous with the empire and who is with the rebels of the empire. The same goes for Saudi Arabia's bombing of Yemen, which was supported by Obama. We know exactly who is who in these Hollywood spectacles. We see the destruction of Palestine olive trees in the same way as the devastating tree scene in Avatar. In other words, what this person is saying, Hollywood does not support Zionism, does not support, Western imperialism, okay, and colonialism. And that is why they tried to pan Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon and said it was terrible and it didn't have ratings. They are trying to down it because the message in it is directly speaking to this. Avatars directly speaking to this. Star Wars with Joe Lucas, what's his name? John Lucas, right? It was directly speaking to what happened in Vietnam and what happened with America. The imperial forces couldn't bomb their way, couldn't bully their way, couldn't force their way on the average people. And let this message be known that one way or the other, there will be a free Palestine. That's all I got to say for now. I am what you need. We must, in true religion, defend the powerless, protect the orphans and the widows, and we must not be corrupted by the world. I'm going to catch you guys later. I am what I am, Christ I am disciple. Peace. Oh, one more thing. Speak up. Silence is condoning. I just got to say, I'm out.